Welcome back to Let's Talk OC, an OC podcast. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Liz.
It's been a minute.
It's been a long time. When was our last episode?
I think we recorded
in the winter, right?
December, but this aired in
January.
Or maybe it was like right before January. Remember I got the parents episode out?
It was like right before the holidays.
Yes.
Like I remember recording during the holidays. So, wow, it's so nice to be in the OC realm.
It really is. I mean, you know, I'm a broken record, but
your favorite show.
I'm happy to be back. It feels good to say those words. Let's talk OC.
Yeah, we're talking OC. We're not talking OC. I mean, we were talking OC, but we're talking Welcome to the OC Bitches podcast.
A podcast about a podcast.
A podcast about a podcast. You guys asked for it. Perplexed, however, but you guys asked for it, so we're giving it to you.
We sure are. Off mic, and we've said this before because Welcome to the OC Bitches came out within like a week. We got messages, are you guys going to review? We want to hear your thoughts. And I'm like, really?
Is it weird to review a podcast reviewing another podcast?
And who are we?
I'm like, who the fuck are we to review this podcast or any other person's podcast for that matter?
Right?
But hey, you guys asked for it. We're here to deliver. You guys sent your questions and comments. So again, we're going to answer them.
Yeah. And in the beginning, I was like, you know what? I will do a review podcast. It's just an excuse to talk about the OC. And originally I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this with Ant because I didn't know if Liz would be down for this. And I didn't think we'd have content, to be honest with you. I was like, what are we going to talk about?
What are we going to talk about?
But
a lot of things have come out. And so there is stuff to talk about.
Comment on, I guess.
Comment.
Discuss.
There's things we have to say.
Yeah. Okay. So far, Welcome to the OC Bitches has had 11 episodes.
Wow.
We've had Josh Schwartz, Peter Gallagher, Tate Donovan, Bonnie Somerville, and Kelly Rowan as cast and, the creator. Then for guests, we had Patrick Rush, who is a casting director, Deb Fisher, who is a writer, Matt Ramsey, editor, Michael Lang, director, and Patrick Norris, director.
Yeah. All of those director and writer episodes I found to be really great.
Yeah.
Because, you don't get to hear from them that often, so.
And what else has been cool is, we're doing Gossip Girl and 3 Gossip Girls.
It's the same creators and writers.
We hear the names like Patrick Norris and Michael Lang.
Yeah, a lot.
It's been a nice crossover.
It has been. I mean, Schwartz and Savage, they have their core team.
Yeah.
They're like, these are our people, and they come with us wherever we go. And I think that's great that they have relationships that they obviously trust in these people, and they respect them for what they do. And you can just tell that even the cast, like Melinda and Rachel, are like, wow, you guys are X, Y, and Z. You guys are great.
Yeah.
They probably all just loved each other, like family.
Right. And when you find people you love to work with, you want to keep giving them
Keep
work.
working. Yeah.
So I want to go over not only our personal thoughts, and we're going to get into questions and comments from listeners, but this rewatch podcast genre.
Culture? I mean, it's the culture of the drama teen shows, and just in general, there's so many rewatch podcasts.
Right. So we have Office Ladies with Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsley, which is not teen drama.
No, but it's a cult classic show.
Yeah. We have Fake Doctors, Real Friends with Zach Braff and
another
Dom Faison.
Classic show.
We have I'm All In with Scott Patterson, which is
Gilmore Girls.
Yep. And then the newest, and I'm sure there's more out there, but Drama Queens with Hillary Burton, Sophia Bush, and Joy Lenz.
Right. So they're rewatching. And then there was also a Sopranos rewatch podcast.
Yes. Thank you for mentioning that, which I have listened to. And I think, don't quote me on this.
They stopped it, right? They stopped doing it?
Well, no, I'm not sure of that. But I think I saw Jenny Garth and
yes, and Tori Spelling are also doing a 90210 rewatch podcast.
I should listen to that.
Me too. Why don't we listen to that?
Okay, it's on
the list.
It's on the list. But anyway,
so it's a phenomenon. Yeah.
And what's so crazy, because when we started Tree Hill Talk, there
were no rewatch podcasts for this genre, our niche genre.
Right, and there were no actors from shows watching their shows.
No, and to be honest, still to this day, the actors don't watch the shows that they're on.
No, and I knew that I've known that.
Right. To us, I feel like it was common knowledge, but I think a load of people were surprised on how little they have immersed themselves in their past TV shows.
Right. So let's get into that.
Yeah, no, totally.
A lot of people who wrote into us, and I've seen comments
everywhere.
Everyone's having a lot of issues with Rachel and her memory.
I know.
I personally don't have a problem with this.
I understand why people are frustrated. I understand it. Me coming from a person who has seen the show twice in my life, it's not my favorite show, but it's a show that I enjoy. And so I could see if it was my favorite show and there are like these big things that happened and I didn't remember them and I said that, I feel like people, maybe would get offended that I didn't really know. But also, it doesn't bother me either because I'm just like, well, I'd rather hear like the behind the scenes type of deal or like your friendships and relationships. Like that's the stuff I'm looking for. So the fact that she doesn't remember it, I just kind of laugh it off. And I think that it's really normal.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too, is if you think of it like this, I thought of this yesterday. They worked on this show.
Over 10 years ago.
It's like 17
years ago.
Point. They showed up. They shot out of order. They didn't always work together. Mm-hmm. You shoot your scenes. Sometimes it's with a stand-in. You go home. And the day goes on and the day goes on. How are you supposed to remember? I couldn't tell you what I said yesterday. I couldn't tell you what I said on Tree Hill Talk. We had this. We talked about this. I know.
Michelle and I have had this talk about things that we've said on podcast. Years later, people will bring it up. And we're like, oh, we said that? Sorry, or haha, that was really funny. Don't remember saying that. And also, like, I mean, this has nothing to do with it, and it's maybe a poor example, but I was a competitive dancer for most of my entire life. And I would do routines, practice them over 100 times in a year. And I still hang out with my girlfriends, like in this weekend, and we were talking about things. I was like, I don't even remember that. I don't remember dancing to that song. I must have rehearsed it 100 times in that year. I don't even remember dancing to that song. And they're like, what? And I'm like, okay, well, I remember this. And like, they're like, wait, what? Like, it just, you remember things because they trigger something in you. It's a memory, right? But if it doesn't like hold a special place, like, I feel like every single day they couldn't have held a special place in their hearts for this particular scene, particular episode. So It's like, why would you remember that?
And I think what I appreciate is Rachel and Melinda, she has watched it since. She has watched episodes. Rachel has never watched it, but she can watch and be like, oh, I remember the feeling I had. And many of these actors, maybe they don't want to go back to the feeling they had when they were filming these episodes.
That was a point that I made sure I wrote down. Like, maybe they don't want to relive this or revisit this. And this is the first time in a long time that they have.
Yeah.
So they're all getting the emotions raw when we're hearing them. You know, it's hard to sometimes recall things. And the only way we recall them is because if something stood out, a memory stood out to you. And she's like, oh, I remember this specific part, like their first kiss.
Yeah.
You know, like I remember having feelings for Adam now.
Right.
So it's like, okay, that's the kind of stuff you want to, for me, that you want to hear.
Yeah. I don't need you to remember,
every little thing that happens.
One thing that did come up is she didn't remember Caleb dying.
I know, which a lot of people are upset about.
Listen, again, if you look at it as, I know, like, this is my favorite show.
She wasn't in the scene.
I should be triggered, but I'm not.
Right.
I think because I understand it. And you know what? I listened to all of the rewatch podcasts that I just listed.
Right.
Everyone has different flows.
Totally.
But if you dissect them, Jenna and Angela have been friends forever. Like, best friends, same age group.
So, but way different relationship.
Way different. Zach Braff and Donald Faison,
best friends.
And Donald doesn't remember anything.
Yeah.
So, but he remembers the feeling he had while filming, and
right, and being able to talk to his best friend about it. Like, we share this.
Yes, exactly.
But like little neat little details, it's neither here nor there. But I understand your frustration, whoever feels this way. I understand it, but yeah. I'm not personally affected by it.
No, I'm not either. And I think also if you view it as it's a job.
It's a job.
It's a job. And that's not discrediting how they feel about it. I think it's just, you just look at it as like, it's almost like, imagine if we, kind of what you said about your dance comparison, if I were to go back and have a conversation with someone from high school that we were mutual friends with, kind of like Mindy and Rachel, right? They now are doing this podcast. They were in totally different groups on this show.
Right.
Like Melinda was an adult in quotes.
Right, a parent and
she was
child.
A kid, right? And a lot of scenes they didn't have together until season 4.
Right, and that's because they had to write it in a sense because we know Marissa dies, that this is her best friend, this is her mother. So yeah, it makes sense for them to come together and have more of a bond and more scenes together. But they really didn't have a lot of scenes together, so they don't really know each other like the other podcasts do.
Right.
So we have to take that into consideration.
I mean, and the other thing, too, is like Scott Patterson. He's never watched Gilmore Girls.
Right.
Ever. And he is watching, and I'll have a guest on here and there, but he's dissecting, and I really am enjoying his podcast. It's a great, they're all doing a version of a rewatch that I'm actually very much into. And then you have Hillary, Sophia, and Joy, who, I mean, talk about queens.
They truly are queens, yeah.
But if you go back and read about their time on the show,
they don't want to relive it.
They don't want to relive it. And there was a time, and Hillary told us this when we talked to her. She was like, I couldn't talk about One Tree Hill for a very long time.
I know.
And now they're rewatching, and you'll hear them. Joy will be like, I don't remember this, or so I can't believe I did that, or I haven't watched it. Like,
right.
It's a job.
It's a job. It's a job. And that job means so much to so many other people in the world. So I understand why they feel that way.
Too.
But as the person who is the creator or acting in it, you're like, wow, oh my God, this means so much to you. I'm like, I'm sorry that I don't remember it, but I'm so glad that I made an impact on you.
Exactly.
So it's like you have to take it for what it is and just move on with it. That's not even my gripes with the podcast, to be honest.
Okay, so and the last thing I want to say, and then we can go into the general flow of the episodes. But I think what's fun is actually, and there is comedic aspect to it of Rachel not remembering, because it's like, oh my God, I did that, or oh, I smoked weed, and she will own and recognize like, wow, I was a little shit, or I'm sorry if I ever did something where I was out of line. Like I think if you can recognize and understand and be like, oh, maybe it wasn't the best in this, I love how she comments on Summer, and I also love how extremely she is into the characters, where she's like rooting for Ryan and Marissa.
Yeah, she's rooting for Ryan and Marissa for sure.
Watching as a fan, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I do too.
I really do. So, okay, let's get into the general flow of the episodes.
The flow is difficult for me. Well, only because, as I said before, you're a true OG, hearts of hearts, absolutely ride or die for this show. So not having a summary for you makes sense that you probably wouldn't mind it as much because you know the ins and outs of every single episode, or, you know, at least the general gist. For me, and like, I don't need a recap either, but I feel like for me, my memory is, I mean, as I get older, my memory gets worse and worse, and we just wrapped on Let's Talk OC not that long ago. So yeah, maybe season 4, when we get to it, I'll remember more about each episode. But the fact that we went back to season 1, it's hard for me, like Rachel, to remember. So I need a little bit more of a summary. I feel like they bullet point maybe 1 or 2 like big things that happen. And when I feel like they talk about it, it's not really a discussion. They kind of just mention it.
Yeah.
That's my right off the bat impression.
I know people have actually said that to us about how we feel about the flow and how they don't do enough recapping and enough detail. The other thing is that I want to point out, it is not easy to get on a mic and podcast.
Hell no, it's not.
It's not.
It's not natural.
It's not natural. And to be completely honest with you, and Liz knows this, but I will say this. There were so many times of Tree Hill Talk where I was like, I don't like this episode. It's really hard for 3 people to chime in. I was always low. Couldn't get a word in. Half of Let's Talk OC, when we were finished recording, I'm like, I can't even believe we're doing this. I'm not happy with it. Until season 3 and 4.
Yeah.
And then Gossip Girl, I absolutely love our flow.
Yeah,
I feel like we finally
look how many
made
years later it took us to find that. And like, that's why I still respect them for what they're doing, because if you've never talked into a microphone and not had like this weird like experience. It's just a weird experience, right? Like you and I are having a conversation, but there's so many other factors to like what we're doing. Like I am talking to my best friend, but like I'm not, because like I have to make sure my face is facing the microphone, or am I making the volume crack, or there's a lot that goes into it. We could just stop recording all of a sudden. And Melinda, that's happened to them.
Yes, it has.
And it's like, well, yeah, you got to pay your dues because it fucking sucks.
And this is such a common thing, which I actually love because it humanizes so many podcasters
100%.
I listen to, and they're like, oh, my recorder just broke.
It doesn't. Yeah, like I like hearing those things as a podcaster because I'm like totally can relate.
Yeah.
So for them, I would like them to get their flow and their bearings and like have a format eventually. And like again, I'm not expecting that to happen right away because obviously it hasn't in 11 episodes. I mean, it definitely has gotten better since the first episode.
Yeah.
But it comes with time. You'll realize like I'm talking over this person the entire time. Okay, I shouldn't do that. Or, you just know when to talk, or you know when to not say things, or you just figure it out. And they haven't done that yet. And I don't hold that against them. It's frustrating to listen to as a listener. I understand. But for two people who are celebrities that were like given this opportunity and they just ran with it. And they have a producer, they have an editor, which don't even get me started with the editing. But it's just like they're there to talk. And I wish, yes, there was more of a format.
Yeah.
Right at this moment. And hopefully they'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, just because you're an actor doesn't mean you're a podcaster.
Right.
And I'm not saying that to toot a horn. It's just
totally
not. And you think. There's also been times off mic where I'm like, yeah, I feel so good. For some reason, those headphones go on. I can hear myself talk. And I'm like, what? I can't, nothing's flowing. This is weird. You're focused in on something.
Yep. I'm like, oh, I hear my nose whistle. Yeah. Or I'm like, why are you talking in circles? Or you're stumbling. And you're like, wait, that makes no sense. Or you hate the sound of your voice. That's like took a really long time to get used to. But it's all a learning curve. So while I understand the frustration, again, I don't blame them for it because they're new. They're learning every single day about how to have a podcast and have a successful podcast.
Yeah. And also, I think Office Ladies, out of the 4 I've listened to, they do go in detail of, certain aspects of the episode, more detail. But you know what? In the beginning, they were rough. It took a little while.
Yeah, they finally, I feel like they found it very quickly, though.
They did.
And that is, like, if I had to, and I have listened to some of those podcasts you listen, but not all of them. But if I had to, like, put a gold star at the top of the top, would be Office Ladies. And that's only because, as we said before, they're absolute best friends. They love each other. They have immersed themselves entirely into this show, which I feel like maybe not the case with OC Bitches, because I feel like there's just a little bit more work with like research that needs to be done.
It's interesting you say that because I'm curious if they're batch recording, because there have been times when Rachel, and maybe this is her getting used to talking on a mic, or you double think like, oh, this happened in this episode, right?
Yes, and she has done that a bunch. I'm like, like she gets confused of like, which episode is this? And like, I mean, how I'm getting confused listening to it because I'm like, wait, which episode is this? Because I don't really remember.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like Jenna and Angela, they have like, as we do, our distinct roles, and like what they know what to expect every single week, and they make it as consistent as possible. And so I feel like they have obviously a great rapport with each other, but such a great format. And, obviously their editing and whoever produces, like everything, it just comes together so nicely in this little package. And for some reason, I can't put my finger on it. But with OC Bitches, I just like, there's just like something, and I just don't know what it is that I'm like looking for. And I think maybe it's more just like, I mean, when we watch a show or we podcast about a show, and I'm not trying to like compare, but I mean, sometimes I'll watch the episode 4 times, which I'm like, I don't know if they do that to fully, like, we're talking about this specific episode, you know, all of your shit about this specific episode. And that's, I think, what's lacking for me.
Yeah. I totally get it.
Yeah. And I don't like to, I don't want to compare because you shouldn't have to compare.
I don't think any of us want to compare. I think it's just when you've listened to a couple of these rewatch podcasts,
they all have a different
nature.
Yeah, it's hard not to compare. They all have their different flows.
Right.
But for some reason with this specific one, the flow is not as flowy.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into questions and comments. Chris, he says that he enjoyed the Kelly episode and is overall liking the podcast. But he started listening to Office Ladies and he notices Angela and Jenna have great chemistry and energy. And maybe that's what's missing on OC Bitches just a little bit. And he doesn't want to compare, like we were just saying. He's thinking maybe if they were in the same room, the chemistry would be there, but that's just his 2 cents. However, overall, he does look forward to this podcast every week.
Yeah. I mean, he's a huge lover of the OC, so I can't imagine you wouldn't look forward to it. It's 2 of the cast members talking about the episode that you've seen a million times. And if you get a guest, that's awesome. And so why wouldn't you still just love listening to them? Like, I'm sure each week you do.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like, we just, like, you don't want to compare it. And so it is what it is. Like,
you just, yeah. And again, this is my favorite show. So I'm like, I'm looking at it from a podcaster, but also a fan.
Yeah.
And it's fulfilling both. But I just totally give grace when it comes to 1, starting something new, 2, starting a project, 3, podcasting about it. It's not easy.
It's not easy. Like, a lot goes into it.
Yeah. And even though they have producers and editors and all of that, it still is not natural. And even through Zoom, it's tough.
It's tough. I mean, I don't watch it. I listen to it.
I don't watch it either.
But it does come up on like YouTube. If I happen to see the picture, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I wonder how that is, like, podcasting. I mean, we've done it before, obviously.
I didn't like it.
No, it's
with me and you. With a guest, it's fine.
With a guest, it's fine because you can see when they're going to speak or, you know, the reaction to something. But it is hard to podcast via Zoom. It's hard.
Yeah, it is. Will feels Melinda and Rachel were natural fits for the podcast and think it's good, but feels they were dancing around the Misha Barton stuff too much and need to get Brody, McKenzie, or Barton on ASAP. They should have had Donnie on. Donnie from Corona, because
Paul
life is
Wesley.
What you make it. That would have been good.
Paul Wesley would probably be such an awesome guest. He's so down to earth, really funny dude. So, like, it would be really awesome if they were to happen to reach out to him for that. That episode passed already, right?
It did.
Yeah.
Yes. And Melinda knows him from Vampire
Right,
Diaries.
exactly. So they could have gotten him, but that's really funny.
At AAW3115 feels the best thing about the podcast is all the behind-the-scenes info, especially the behind-the-scenes guests. The process is so interesting.
Definitely.
It also made her love Melinda more.
Me too. Love.
We can agree to.
Love her.
I mean, listen, I absolutely adore Melinda. I adore Rachel.
Same.
But we were asked at the end of Let's Talk OC if we could interview anyone, and we both said Melinda Clark.
I know.
Out of the whole cast. And I think Alicia was the one to ask us that question, and that still stands.
Totally still stands.
I'm obsessed with, I love how she's doing the show. I love her presence on the show. I love her on social media. I love her.
Yeah.
I really, really, I respect her. I love her.
Yeah,
it's good
same.
Stuff. Couple of questions she has for us. Which episode did you learn the most from and why?
I guess Josh's episode, right? I feel
like it all started.
Yeah, the first episode and how he came to be and the youngest producer on television at that time. And I feel like that was probably one of the best informative episodes. And then I feel like, honestly, any of the episodes with any of the writers or directors, like I said before, like, you learn so much because you don't get to see those people on camera. You only see what they put on the screen. And so to hear what happened behind the scenes with them and how they shot that or how many hours it took for that and how they compiled it together, like, that's what's interesting to me.
I agree. 100%. As podcast vets, what have you learned that you would pass on to improve the podcast, if any? Which is so sweet for you to call us that.
Yeah, I mean...
And for us to give advice is weird.
It is weird. I feel like I don't have the place to speak to these two individual women, but obviously we always say, like, you need the passion. And I feel like, not that they're lacking passion, but and maybe eventually it will come, but like, we love talking about television so much. We are so passionate about talking about television. Obviously, we have a podcast network about talking about television. And so I feel like maybe they need to find like what excites them about podcasting and then go with that. Cause I feel like it's kind of very like surfaced right now. Like, obviously we know they're still trying to find their bearings and find what they like about it. So maybe that, and obviously being consistent is extremely important.
That's what I was going to say, consistent and just keep going, because I think
just keep going.
If you keep going, you'll naturally find your flow. You'll naturally find, okay, I need to brush up on this.
Like maybe like we should just eliminate doing that, or we should beef up doing this. Like it's all a learning process.
Right.
So again, being consistent and just podcasting every single week or every single month or whatever your schedule is, it helps, because then you get used to the flow and you know what's expected of you. And yeah, maybe you would research that a little bit more to bring it to next week's episode, or you'll do, it all just comes with time and learning. I
will say this too. When we started Tree Hill Talk, right? I showed up, watched the episode,
left,
gave comments. I didn't take notes. And at the time, I wasn't editing.
Right.
6 months later, I took on editing full time, started taking notes, and became fully obsessed,
fully invested.
World. But it didn't take until 6 months.
Yeah, and I was there too.
I'm not comparing us to like the actors who worked on a show, but also it takes time for you to be like, oh yeah, I'm in this. And of course, it's different for them because they have people that are helping them.
Right.
But sometimes it'll click and be like,
totally. And even we podcasted 2 podcasts before we did 3 Gossip Girls, and even in the beginning of 3 Gossip Girls, it was like still a learning curve of like, what do we do with this specific show? Yeah. And how do we make this the best podcast? Because we're used to doing this with this podcast and this with that. And it just probably didn't work for this one. So you need to, again, like reteach yourself how to like just figure out what works best. And they definitely will. It just will take some time.
Have any questions been answered since listening?
I don't know if I necessarily had any questions, you know?
Same, because I go in every week with an open mind.
Same. I'm like, what are they going to tell me today?
Yeah. And I'm like, yes, this is what I wanted to know. And I'm just fully enjoying it rather than being like, oh, they didn't touch upon this, or, oh, they're not recapping this part.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm here because I'm home by myself and I just want to hear them talk about my favorite show.
Yeah. And like, as we said, they're just rewatching it again for like the first time ever. So the things that we've talked about in lengths for years, they're just coming to that realization of like, oh, Rosa, she doesn't like last, or, some
Dustin.
like, all these like jokes that we've been talking about like for years. And I'm sure with the Ryan and Seth like sharing a room, like those joking things they'll get to eventually, and they'll be like, wait, oh. And so as the audience, you're like laughing along with them, but it's like, do you need to answer it? No, because at this point,
right.
It's kind of just like a thing that has happened.
Right.
It's just,
overall, Alicia sent us her thoughts on Misha when she wrote her essay for Harper's Bazaar titled The Grim Truth About Growing Up in the Public Eye. And we've had people speak to us of
it's a very sad article
about this essay, and then Melinda and Rachel did lightly touch upon it, because I feel that you do have to lightly touch upon it. They can comment on it because obviously anybody can comment on, but for them to state a truth about it, and I feel like they did it in a right way.
Right. Exactly. They were saying that they had their own experiences on the show. And the fact that Misha had such a different experience, they want to know why that is.
Right.
So, I mean,
yeah,
it's hard to touch about someone else's truth. Like,
yes,
you know, like this is her truth. And you're like, well, how do I take that away from her? And like me reading this article, oh my God, this is just so sad to me that she was an actress at a young age and just was thrown into it and had to learn all her firsts, you know, right off the surface, and just not even experiencing these things for herself in real life. And then like you're watching her experience it, and people are then just ripping her apart.
Right. Highly sexualized. And then when there was a part she wrote about that because her mother was trying to protect her, became overbearing and difficult to work with.
Yeah.
I took out a paragraph that I actually wanted to discuss with you. It's from Misha's essay.
Okay.
And she says, here I was playing a confident character who was fast and loose, yet I was still a virgin. The kids in the show were quintessential rich, privileged American teenagers, drinking, taking drugs, and of course having sex. I knew it was important to get this thing, my virginity that was looming over me, the elephant in the room, if you will, out of the way. I started to worry that I couldn't play this character if I didn't hurry up and mature a little. Did I ever feel pressure to have sex with someone? Well, after being pursued by older men in their 30s, I eventually did the deed. She goes on to go. But what I found interesting about...
That breaks my heart.
First off, it breaks my heart. But when you look at Marissa Cooper, and I can't take away her feelings for playing this character or how she felt or the pressures put on from higher-ups and in meetings.
Yeah.
But if we look at the show, Marissa was not a slut.
No.
Never was presented that way.
No, and she wasn't, I mean, I don't want to, again, take that away from her, but I don't think she was highly sexualized either as a character. Well, you know, like...
Yeah, when you hear people talk about the OC, especially Drama Queens mentioned it, a couple of people of others, that the OC was so sexy. Was it?
I know.
Do we have bad vision of it? Because I view, again, I'm biased, it's my favorite show, but when watching it when I was a kid, I was more tuned in for the California Seth Cohen nerd lifestyle.
Yeah, like high schoolers in California. I don't necessarily, even in my 30s, think this is a sexy show.
Right. So you have Marissa Cooper, who...
Gossip Girl.
That's sexy.
A sexy show.
Yeah. But okay, so you have Marissa Cooper, who... to me was never portrayed as this like person who was loose and needed. You had Summer who was a virgin. You had Seth who was a virgin.
Right.
They were
Summer who was a virgin, but you never believed that she was.
But you find out quick.
And you're like, oh, okay, gives that character way more depth than you thought she would, which is great as far as, you know, than her being in a relationship with Seth. And them losing their virginity for the first time. But
together.
Yeah, together.
Monogamous.
Mm-hmm.
The characters around them wasn't really much of sex driven.
No, it wasn't.
Except for Ryan, which we learned he had previous sexual partners.
Right. And sex driven more so, I guess, Marissa and Ryan's relationship as opposed to Seth and Summer. Like Seth and Summer are an old married couple pretty much the entirety of the show. And so it's like the heat is brought upon with Ryan and Marissa more so, but not even
because we don't even see them have sex. It's mostly just, as you know, Ryan
just like
Marissa.
Yeah, like they're pining over each other, but not in like a way where he's like, oh man, like looking her up and down, or it wasn't overly sexualized for me. And as a woman, and I'm not trying to take that away from Misha,
me neither.
I get where she's coming from, but I don't feel like it wasn't my experience. But again, the show, I wasn't an actor on the show.
And so that part made me sad that she felt that way.
And I feel like Melinda and Rachel have always talked about how much more mature Misha was for her age. And Misha was saying how she felt like she wasn't mature at all. And she felt like she needed to push to be mature, push to lose her virginity so she knew what it was like to play someone who lost their virginity. Like that's shit you don't think about as an actress or as a person watching it. Yes.
Yeah. As
you
a
know,
viewer.
You're like, oh my God, like she didn't even have sex in real life and now she has to pretend to play someone who is losing their virginity. Like, how does she understand that? And I'm sure this happens all the time because I feel like I've seen so many interviews of young actresses saying like, I had my first kiss on screen and I was a virgin until this day. And just like, how do you play someone when you don't have that experience yourself? Which she felt like she had to do that.
Yeah. She also writes that I found interesting as well. At the same time, nobody was happy that there was so much media attention on me over the other cast members. It rocked the boat in a big way. They thought I was courting publicity, also because the person I was dating at the time was someone well known in LA circles.
Yeah.
I wasn't attention seeking by that point. It began to snowball.
When we grew up watching Misha Barton, you were like, oh, that's, Misha Barton, she's at it again. Yeah. And now I'm thinking like, that's not right. I had no idea what was going on in her life. And that the fact that paparazzi were literally paying homeless people to take pictures of her and record her. Like, that's just disgusting.
And for her to have PTSD with camera clicks.
Yes.
It's awful.
It's awful. And so you just never know what's going on behind closed doors. So for us to make that like snap judgment of who Misha Barton is or was, just like because she says Britney Spears or Paris Hilton, it's so sad. The early 2000s was so hard.
Early aughts with those low-rise jeans.
Oh my God.
They hurt.
They hurt is right.
Yeah. But I've always, it's funny because even with Misha being in the news of how they portrayed her to us, I always still loved her.
Yeah.
I always loved her style and her grace and everything she's done. But continuing on, at Megan Derm on the topic of Misha, she says, am I crazy or am I the only one who thinks they are kind of hard on Misha? They seem like they give her a lot of crap and hate on her a bit, or maybe it's just me.
I don't necessarily think they hate
I don't think so. I think they talk about Marissa in a very, they talk about Marissa, the character, with such respect.
They have so much respect for Marissa. Misha, I feel like they don't. They just don't know. They just don't have the same experience that she did. So when people ask them about her or they're trying to understand like what she was going through in this part of the episode, I feel like they don't really know. And Rachel was more, but both of them kind of were because Melinda was also her mother. So like they both had a lot of scenes with her. So the fact that they're not even understanding where she's coming from with the things that she said, it's like, wait, weren't you guys... They were probably together the most besides Ben with Misha. So it's like, what experience did you guys have? Like, everyone had such a different experience.
Well, I think because Misha was the star and blew up and was the youngest.
The youngest, yep.
And sexualized from an early age, then that can infiltrate. And then it's like, oh, we want you to do this, we want you to do that. And you're in. And like she said, she didn't know to speak up. She didn't know she could say things.
Yeah.
Which actually, to go into Drama Queens, you'll hear the three of them talk about like not knowing they could stand up until later on.
Which is so sad, but the fact that now they can say that and like hopefully help other people that act and like, no, this is your limit. If you have a limit, you need to say it. So I'm glad that we have a platform now that people can talk about that openly.
Yes.
And their history with that. So I would like to hear Misha's side of the story.
So funny you say that. At Rissa_2234 asked, do you think Misha will eventually come on?
I don't know, but I am hopeful for it, but I'd understand if she didn't.
Same. I would
like to hear it.
I would love for her to come tell her story. I think Melinda and Rachel would love for her to come on. They've said that. We'd love to talk to you and learn about your experience. But I also, going back to the beginning, maybe you don't want to relive that part of your life. She has talked about it in some interviews now.
She has, yeah.
Recently, there's been stuff you can find of her, people have asked, like, oh, if the
reboot,
the revival, like, how would we do it? Would they bring Marissa back? And, she's always stood by Marissa dying. And it's like, I feel like at this point, I only want guests on that actually really want to come on. Let's not force it.
Right. And so if she is excited to be on, and wants to share her story, then hell yeah, please do. I'm sure Melinda and Rachel would be super respectful of her,
oh my God,
what happened in her journey. And they can all talk about how they all had completely different experiences on this same show.
I mean, isn't that life?
Learn from it. Yeah.
We all have different experiences.
100%.
Like, you grow up with a sibling, you're raised the same exact way.
But completely different
thought
people.
Processes.
Yeah. Completely different people. So whatever you're going through, not necessarily the person next to you is feeling the same way about it.
Right.
So at least they're now like they recognized that
and were made aware.
And they were made aware, and they're like, oh, okay, well, now she had this issue, many issues, like, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So, hopefully.
Tish asks, who has been your favorite guest so far?
So far, where we're up to, I think, Kelly and I think like Patrick Norris. I think both of their episodes were great. I loved just hearing Kelly and Melinda's friendship, and Melinda has like a really, I mean, not Melinda, Kelly has like she has good memories of the show, and like memories where obviously we're joking around that Rachel doesn't remember anything, but Kelly remembers a lot, and she has really good memories, and she loved her experience with Peter, and like how she's just like they were a great married couple, and I think she really appreciated her role there, and now she's a mom herself, and I loved how she was talking about how she really wasn't that much older than them.
Oh my gosh. Isn't that the fun part? 13 years older?
Yeah, so they had more in common than we thought they did.
Yeah.
So it was really nice to see her. And when I was texting Michelle, I was like, as soon as Melinda was like introducing Kelly, like she's done X, Y, and Z, I started like getting choked up a little bit, because I'm like, oh my God, like Kelly is like, for me, I mean, she was on my top 5, you guys know, like the OC. I don't care who else, like Sandy and Kirsten were like my OTP. And I was like, oh, it's so good to hear Kelly and just know that her experience was a positive one, and how much she did enjoy being on the show, and now that her daughter like wants to go back and watch it, and I just loved that one.
Kelly was my favorite. Tate is a close second.
Tate was a great one as well. It's hard.
I mean, I love all the behind the scenes too, but if we're talking about main cast members, the other thing too is Kelly and Tate
excuse me, voice
and Melinda were all the adults on the show, and Peter, so they have such a different perspective,
totally,
compared to Misha. And if we want to tie in Adam here, because people have been wondering, would Adam come on this podcast? He has spoken recently.
I don't think he will.
About his time on the OC. You know what? People read interviews with Adam and they take it so harshly.
Mm-hmm.
I read the interviews, I'm like, okay, he's appreciative of his time on the show as playing Seth Cohen. And he's like, I don't want to watch myself. It's uncomfortable.
Even Kelly said that. She's like, I never go back and watch myself.
He's past it.
Yeah.
So can we just leave him alone? And I know, again, here, I'm a huge fan of this show. But I don't view that as Adam being like, oh, shitting all over Seth Cohen. I think he's just like, I was young. I played this role. I'm super grateful for it, because he has said that. He recognizes where it got him. But also, I kind of don't want to watch myself because it's uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah. So, and I feel like a lot of the guests have rewatched a lot of episodes to like prepare for their interview with them. So maybe Adam just wouldn't really want to do that.
I would think quintessential Brody episode, he doesn't even have to watch the episode. Let's just have the three of them talk about their time on the show together.
We don't have to talk about like the actual episode at hand.
Or he doesn't even have to rewatch. They could just fill him in.
Yeah, just talk about your time on the show.
Yeah.
And like have some, LOL moments, and like share your memories, and Camp Gallagher. I love hearing about that. I mean, it must be such a fun time. They just all
smoked weed.
And played capture the flag and ran around and probably made out, and like,
I want to be there.
Me too. I mean, it was probably so much fun. And so the fact that they can bond over having those memories would be nice for the listeners. And also it's like, it's none of my damn business.
Right. If you don't want to share it, then you don't share it. But if he wanted to come on and they joke about their time, and then that'd be great.
Great. I would love to listen to that episode. I would love to listen to Ben on an episode.
Right. So,
and Misha, of course. Any of the kids, because we've had pretty much all the core parents right now. So,
But yeah, my favorite guest has been Kelly and Tate. Kelly, I cried hearing. I wanted her. She was the one I was looking forward the absolute most. Which episode are you excited for them to talk about?
My memory, I couldn't tell you a specific episode, but
storyline. Chrismukkah. We got to talk about Chrismukkah.
Yeah. Would be great, obviously, if Adam were to come on a Chrismukkah episode.
Sure.
But I'm not, I wonder, is Josh going to come on multiple episodes?
I'm assuming so.
So maybe it would be nice to have Josh on that, so he can kind of like talk about the creation of it and what came to his mind, sparked it all. And
well, growing up is like a half. We're halfsies, so
yeah. So just like tell his journey, and probably all the producers were laughing at him, like, "Wait, you're seriously making this holiday?" I'm sure it was talked about, and they did an episode every single season about it. So it meant something to this show. I mean, it's the biggest thing that came from this show, really. You know.
Yeah. Well, this ties into what @Prim Devakula. Sorry, Prim, says, I love listening to Kelly Rowan on the episode. It is a rare joy to get to hear the actress who played one of 16-year-old Yu's absolute favorite characters discuss all of her years. An even rarer joy to have her not only disappoint, but even impress.
Yes.
My question, are there emblematic episodes of certain characters that you would love to hear the actors come on the podcast for? For Kirsten, I'd love to hear Kelly again from The Ties That Bind.
Is that the finale of season 1?
Where I think the performance was amongst the best of the series. Yes, it's season 1 finale.
Okay. I would love to have heard her perspective, like maybe like how she prepared for that or something like that. But
I would love her on the episode of The Intervention.
Yeah. Oh my God. Such a hard episode too.
I was confusing the two. Because to me, I thought her performance in that was
great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I agree to this with Kelly coming back for that or for, the Intervention episode. I would love Olivia Wilde to come on.
Oh, me too.
I know Chris Carmack is coming.
He has to be coming.
Cam Gigante.
I want
to know if they told him, listen, you're going to kill
Marissa.
And how do you feel about
I would love
this?
to know about that. Yeah. He would be a great guest.
He would. And then Taylor Hanley. Oliver for the links, the specific links episode. And then, of course, Autumn Reeser.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like she has to come on.
Yeah. But, and I know, obviously Ben, but I want the side characters.
Yeah, I know. I want to hear more of their experience.
Yeah. At Mrs. Boquist says, what background tea has been spilled so far that you learned from the podcast that you didn't already know?
Oh. Well, I mean, it's like I said before, knowing about Adam and Rachel's relationship. And I feel like, of course I would say that, the relationship that happened from the show, and everyone wanted to know what was going on behind the scenes. And so finding out the way that she started falling for him, I thought that was really sweet and really big of her. Not big of her, but I really respected the fact that she can just say that it meant, not that it meant nothing, but just it's a fact.
Yeah.
And it's not hurting her or harming her in any way or not ruining a potential, romance or relationship that she would have now. So I like hearing about that stuff. I mean, obviously the Cam Gallagher stuff that we just said, I thought that was hysterical. And I was like, okay, let's humanize these people. They smoke weed. It's legal in California. So we can talk about this.
Right.
It's fun to hear that type of stuff.
I love Tate's story about how he...
Oh, and how he was such an asshole?
Well, he was not such an asshole, but he had to film with Peter, and he was so mad at him at that golf scene.
Yeah.
And afterwards, Peter's like, do you want to play a couple rounds of golf? And he was just so angry at him. I love that.
Yeah, really funny
I love Peter hearing him rewatch the show and being like, oh my God, Kelly and Tate had such a vibe and a connection.
He's like, I didn't see that. I'm getting mad. And then even Rachel in this past week's episode talking about how Anna's trying to step on my man, and I feel like in real life me and Samir had a thing.
Yeah.
Because I was having a crush on Adam and she was trying to take him from me, the character, and I just felt not okay. She's 16-year-old me is upset, or not 22-year-old her is upset. I was like, that's so great to hear. That type of stuff. They're human.
Yes, exactly. I also love that Kelly said Ben made her break the most.
I know. I'm
funny
what?
Ben.
Funny
what?
Ben? What's going on there?
Yeah, the casting director episode, he was pretty interesting how he told how they casted Ben and how they casted Misha. And I mean, it's anytime they tell those personal stories, I love it.
Me too.
That's been the best.
Yeah.
Last but not least, @court_Lynn asks, what do you think of Josh saying Taylor and Ryan ended up together?
I know. I knew this was going to be a thing.
Okay, well, all right.
I knew people were going to ask this question.
This hasn't been talked about on...
Since.
Welcome to the OC Bitches on a podcast. It was discussed on a live during the promotion week when the podcast was announced and the first episode came out, Josh and Rachel and Melinda, they were all doing these lives on Instagram. And someone said, what about Taylor and Ryan? And of course, Rachel's like, who or like what? Which is hysterical. And he's like, oh yeah, they end up together. Just matter of factly. And I took it as like, wait, what? But also, I feel like Josh is kind of trolling us at the same time.
He was probably like, I'll just tell them what they want to hear and I'll laugh
and
it off.
And also, like, I don't know, sure.
But also, sure. Together. Yeah, like, I haven't thought about it in 17 years, so sure, whatever you guys want.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that's not what everyone wants because everyone is not everyone, but we have a lot of anti-Taylor and Ryan people out there because obviously we know everyone loves Raissa so much.
Right. Yes. And then we did that, like, where would they be? And Josh wrote a little thing where she'd end up with Nate Archibald, right?
Which I think is so
I'd rather
funny.
just think that at this point.
Yeah, totally. Life. I would love for Nate and Taylor to be together.
I mean, I don't know what happens in Gossip Girl, so that could totally be a thing. But yeah, that's all our questions and comments. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
To everyone who reached out. Everyone wrote how they wanted this so bad. It's like catching up with an old friend. We really appreciate those sweet comments. And also, we're also over here like, wait, what?
Yeah, right?
You
like
want
us?
This? Okay.
It's just, I mean, it's been a bizarre episode, but I feel like now you guys know where we stand with it. Yeah. And, you know, obviously, we'll still be listening.
Yeah, and
if you want to reach out,
you can always reach out.
Some more comments.
We'll always talk about the OC and when we get some other guests on.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get some big guests, some big reveals, good behind the scenes stuff.
I want to put out there, I would love to hear Stephanie Savage. I know she's coming at some point. She is very detail oriented. I'd love to hear her take on, maybe she'd be good for Chrismica too. That's just me putting feelers out there. I'm having
Ajita as well.
Before we wrap up, let's do a little Betty of the Week.
Betty of the Week.
You're a total Betty. You're a total Betty. You're a total Betty.
So this week, I should say this past couple of weeks, we've had 3 new pledges to the network. Nathan, Debbie, and Prim. Hi, guys. Is your name Primrose, like Hunger Games?
I know, and also, Prim, are you...
Prim, did you send us a question?
Who I butchered your
I hope you
name?
are.
Gosh.
Just thank you.
Thank you so much.
But you guys are the new class.
The Total Betty new class.
The Total Betty new class. We are super excited that you're here. Most of you already have been in the Discord, so everyone's getting to know you and your love of Gossip Girl and the OC and your TBM journey. It's just so nice to hear what you've been up to and why you came and why you're listening. And we just really appreciate you guys.
Thank you so
much.
Thank
you. It really means everything so much.
I also, we've had our Patreon network for so long at this point. We're so thankful. We have listeners and pledges that have been with us since Tree Hill Talk days.
Which is like since 2016.
And we can't thank you enough because you keep these shows up. All of the pledges keep Tree Hill Talk still going.
Yeah.
You keep Let's Talk OC up.
It really does.
We have people still listening to the show. We got a comment the other day that they've been listening and now they're on to Gossip Girl. I'm like, wow, like even though we're not producing episodes, you're still here. So
yeah,
we really appreciate it. If you want to check out other things that we do, check out totalbettymedia.com. In fact, we're having our virtual group hang on the 22nd. So
join us,
pledges. If you're interested, check out what we offer. But on my time hop today, this popped up 1 year ago from our pledge, Mal, who is still with us.
Mal loves the OC.
Says, I'm so excited to be here finally. I was the one on Reddit a few months ago in the OC subreddit asking if I should watch One Tree Hill or Gossip Girl next. I just finished One Tree Hill season 1 and I'm obsessed. Found you guys because the OC has my heart. I needed to join to be part of last season. I've listened to the pod twice so far. I love you guys so much. Your girl, Mal.
Oh, Mal.
So I screenshotted this. It was stayed on my phone, showed up today. This was 1 year ago. And I wanted to put it in our Discord chat, but I didn't want to be creepy, Mal. So instead, I'm telling the world.
Right? You're telling the whole world about your screenshot.
That's how much you guys mean to us.
Yes. There's multiple screenshots. I'm sure if you go back in the history of Michelle and I's chats, there are endless screenshots of pledges and comments and just reviews and ratings, just really sweet stuff that we just like to, talk about them and get so excited that you're here and that you're enjoying, that you love us. And we love you.
We love you. Thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned. We will have another bonus episode.
Yes, it's coming in the works
this month. Also, if you're rewatching not rewatching, but if you're watching
along with us,
the new Gossip Girl, join us. We'll be covering it,
the reboot,
over on 3 Gossip Girls podcast.
Yeah, every Wednesday. Well, for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah, it should be a good time.
Yeah, so thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Okay, so I called Liz back, and I was like, listen, Chris Carmack is going to be on. We have to do a follow-up episode. And then after listening, I wanted to talk to you about it because I felt like they recapped the episode.
They definitely did a lot better.
And Rachel was more on her game.
She definitely was.
They weren't really talking over each other.
No, they weren't.
It was a great episode.
It was a great episode. Chris was a wonderful guest. He is so genuine, so sweet. He just loved being a part of it, and they loved their experience with him. I found his interview portion to be like the most exciting and the most that I can remember. Obviously, because we just listened to this episode, but I feel like I absorbed a lot of what he was saying as opposed to when some other guests are on and they were like, yeah, I did this X, Y, and Z. And I was like, oh, that's nice. And then kind of just went out of my brain. But with Chris, I was like, oh my God, with the Nashville stuff and just hearing his experience, it was a really good episode. I really enjoyed.
Do you remember when I brought up that I saw that he didn't remember?
He didn't remember even saying that line. That must have been a troll.
I don't know where I saw that, why I brought that up, because he talks so much about that and how everybody has said it to him.
And everyone knows him for that.
And I'm like, so today I was Googling, I'm like, where was that? I cannot find that anywhere. Isn't that crazy?
It's a Mandela effect. You never even saw it.
I guess so, but I know I said it on this podcast.
You definitely did, because it's something that stuck with
in
me.
Your mind, right?
And so when I heard him say all of the stuff, I was like, oh, I just chalked it up to, okay, that probably wasn't an accurate news source or a tweet or whatever it was.
Right.
So I'm glad to hear that he remembers, and I feel like he remembers a lot about his time on the show.
Well, I think also the fact that his wife started rewatching.
Yeah, so that helps too.
He caught his wife, and so he sat down with her and watched it with her, which I think is so funny when people who either their kid or spouse watches the show they're on.
Yeah.
And they're get caught up in it.
I teared up when he told his story about how he met his wife.
I know.
When he saw her on the stage, and he was like, it was just like this angel. And I was like, oh my God, that's so sweet. What a romantic love story that you hear only in movies.
Yeah.
Really sweet.
But I really liked him as a guest, and I even said I couldn't wait for him to be a guest, and then you look and he comes on.
Hopefully he'll come back for the episode that they were referencing when they first hook up. Would be really funny if they did. Yeah. But also oh my God, I can't believe that we had to kiss each other and pretend to have hooked up, and it's just awkward. And they laughed about it. Yeah, and every episode I feel like it's being brought up.
Yeah.
So
how could it not be?
Yeah.
But the other reason I wanted to come on is I wanted to see if you felt the same way, because we talked about in length, because I edited the episode already.
Yeah, in length.
So, we talked about the flow and how the episodes are going, and I felt that they're finding their stride.
Yeah.
This was a week that really showed that.
Yeah.
I wanted to see if you agreed.
No, I do agree. I was proud of this episode. I felt like I wasn't distracted. I mean, I was driving when I listened to it, so besides driving, there was no other distraction. So I feel like that helped me really focus in, and I felt the entire conversation to be informative and entertaining, and I didn't really feel like there was any awkward moments or people talking over each other, those things that happen.
The only weird thing is at the end, the ads are starting before the episode is done. It's cutting off. This has happened twice.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, wait, what? It just
doesn't it sound like Bonnie's voice?
Yeah.
And I'm like, did she do this infomercial? Because at first I thought it was an ad for her podcast.
You're right.
And it wasn't. And now we keep hearing it over and over again. I'm like, well, the voice is pleasant.
Yes, it is pleasant. It's just strange. But I thought it was great. And I also, because I know the show, but you brought up a good point of sometimes you need more of a recap. Yeah. Did you remember this episode? This was a big episode. How could you forget this?
I definitely felt more like secure with like remembering what happened because of the big scenes. And I feel like, they did go not necessarily into, they went into the big scenes, but there were other scenes that they did talk about, which is what I'm looking for as a viewer that hasn't seen it a million times in my life. So, but I mean, there's no way you can't remember this episode.
Yeah, I mean, that was what we're talking about in case you're wondering, is The Secret.
The Secret.
When Luke's dad.
Yeah. It's hard for me to remember which episode.
Entitled?
With the title.
Yeah, of course.
A lot of times I think I'm thinking of an episode. I'm like, oh, wait, this isn't the episode. But The Secret, I feel like, okay, that's very specific. Yeah. you know? So I'm like, that's the episode with Luke's dad. Him and Ryan.
I would love for them to get him to come on because I feel like he was
the father.
Yeah, he was a really good.
Yeah, definitely.
He was so sweet,
and I like listening to how Chris was analyzing how Luke was at that point. Like, well, I just found out my dad, has a lover and is cheating on my mom. Like, that's one thing, and then I have to kind of approach it at that moment. Like, how would anyone react? You're not really absorbing. You kind of just want to flee the scene. You don't know how you're processing it. Yeah. I was like, like the things that you think about as an actor, which is like such a brilliant thing.
Yeah.
To hear how an actor prepares themselves or not prepares themselves or whatever they're doing. So, I just find that stuff to be interesting.
I think as we're getting into the next batch of episodes, we're getting into Christmas, we're getting into Oliver, we're getting into New Year's, we're getting into Rooney.
I know, the Luke Rooney.
I mean, the Rooney episode.
And they say, like, you get really funny, dude.
You get goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Luke becomes goofy. I don't know who they'll get for that if they have anybody lined up, but I'm so excited for the discussion of the Rooney episode.
Yeah, same. I look forward to it. Yeah. I still, each week I will listen.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued to see their progression, and I wish them all the best. And I want to see, and I want to hear the best quality I possibly can, and I hope that continues. So
yeah, same. And now we're actually caught up.
Now when we
release this episode, I'll feel good because we literally talked about all 12 episodes.
Yeah, I was like, wait, is it released on Tuesday or Wednesday? And you're like, Tuesday. I was like, oh, damn, we'll miss that like new release before it goes out. But
I was like, if someone major comes, we have to just do a tiny bit of a follow-up. And listen, okay.
No, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, we're good. This has been a Total Betty Media podcast, produced and edited by Michelle Rubenstein and Alyssa Tenio, music by Anthony Vaccaro.